the last part of this lecture, part E.3, data binding in JSP. We learned the data binding concept before. We need to really want to see how it is used in a real world, in a real example. All right, here, let's take a look. Before we look at how it is used, I want to recall this concept a little bit. So the data binding concept. So this is a very important concept. Later you will see this concept is used in many different places. So if you are familiar with this concept, then later when you see the similar situation, you can understand much better. Here, so what kind of data binding do we need to do here? Here. First, binding two parts, two, set of data items, two set of data items. The first set in Java Bean, in a Java Bean, you have a set of properties. Many properties. All right. So the other side, okay. Let me just call it view page. Okay, a view page. Typically JSP. All right. Typically JSP view page. In a view page, you have a set of input fields. Each field corresponds to some parameters. Parameters. So the data binding you need to do, basically, you do data binding between those parameters and Java Bean properties. So the so-called data binding is automatic data copy. Automatic data copy by the server. Okay, so that's the data binding, meaning. How does a server do data binding? Very simple. Copy from this side to that side, right? Get, right? So you call getters. Because you retrieve data from the Java Bean and place in the input fields. So use getters. This side, you copy data from input fields and put in the Java Bean properties. You call it setters. Okay? So for that reason, your getters, setters, you should follow the Java Bean specifications. Java Bean specifications for getters and setters. So we talked about that before. Here, follow those rules, important. If you do not follow those rules, then this step will break. This step will break. All right, So that's the concept we learned before. So now let's go to the .JSP file. So I explain several places, especially about the data binding part. All right. So let me bring up. I cut in two image files. Yeah. All right, so first, we use the JSP use being action, right? So we call this type of element JSP actions. Yeah, calling use being. Yeah. Then use ID, reference name, guest, yeah. Scope, page. So this being we only use in this page. Yeah. Next page we do not need to use it. Yeah. So we set page scope. So then carry data. So this being is used to carry data. All right. The second being gets the data reference, and because it is a DAO, remember? So we use this as a DAO. All the database queries, we need to use this DAO object to process. So for that reason, we need to use in 2 pages. Yeah. These 2 pages are in the same request scope. So that's why we put it in a request scope. Yeah. Then in the second page, when we get this object, we do not need to create a new one. We just use the one that is stored in the request scope. Yeah. All right. So that's the meaning of these 2 lines. Yeah. After that, now the data binding line. This line does the data binding, just the one line. Okay. The one line set for the server, tell the server how to do the data binding. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Name, guest. Yeah, because you use the being with the reference here. So name refers to the object whose instance already created. Yeah. Then this property star. Yeah. So now the property name equals the parameter name. S, all. Yeah. All properties, all parameters, exactly the same. So the star. Yeah. That's an easy way to tell the server to do the data binding. Otherwise, if you use different names, then you need to specify different properties, parameters, right? Yeah. So you can go back to see our notes. Otherwise, if the names are different, so now you need to use property equals like ABC, for example. Okay. Then the parameter, you need to specify parameter. Okay. Param attribute X, Y, Z, right? Things like that. Okay. So that's not very convenient. Yeah. So this is the most convenient way to do the data binding. Yeah. All right. After that, then we need to, connect. Yeah. So in the script first, yeah, because after you get this Java Bean object gets to this reference, does it contain any data inside? It may not contain, right? Yeah. The first time you display this page, it does not contain any data there. Yeah. So you need to check if it is null or not, because nothing there. So at the beginning, it is null. Okay? Yeah, these object null. So when there is no data in the Java Bean, then you display a form. Yeah, here I cut in the middle. Yeah. So the form post method action you submit to on, because this file is this guestbook.jsp. So you submit to yourself, okay? Yeah, for processing. All right, so next, we still the second half of this page. So I cut this body from body here. There is overlap. So this part, we carried from the previous page. All right. Then you can see input field. So these three names exactly the same as the properties. Okay, property also called last name, first name, last name, email. Exactly the same. So then, after you set as required, so then you won't see data copy, but it will happen behind the scene. Okay, Otherwise, you may wonder, how do you copy the data? I do not see it. Okay, So that's the data binding thing there. All right. Then, so here, because if statement, if there is no data in the bin, this means no data in the bin. All right, if, okay, all right. Then else, this else part, All right, same file, but different situation. So there is data in the bin. How do you get the data in the bin? Through data binding. Because after you submit, you send it to the server will copy the data for you. Copy data from the input fields into the Java Bean properties. Then send it back to this same file. So then it will get the data, through data binding. So here there is data. This guest contains data. So then you can call the DAO. So this is DAO, right? Because this DAO, you create it, so you just use it. Add guest, pass this Java Bean, it carries the data. And you do the query in the add guest method. All right. After that, you need to send to another JSP to list result. So here you use the JSP:forward. Thus, JSP:forward. Page, another just when you use forward, this page in the same request scope. Same request scope. All right. So then, in the second page very easy. So here I didn't cut here. So so we can see here. Log in. Back to here the view. Second page. Second page you can see we get guest data object from the request scope request. So that DAO object, because it's already there, we just use the existing Java Bean. Then we need to display. So display. So you use a list. So it return get guest list. Here remember here I didn't use the Java generics, so it's not good. It's old way. It works, but it's not good. the better way we should use Java generics. So here, definitely it's a not good way, because this is an old code, very old code. So when I modify it, this part I didn't change it, but you can see when you use the old way, before you use it, you need to do casting here. Guess the bin, you need to do casting here. See? Yeah. Also, you can see, the good thing is you can compare old way and the new way. One place we changed, another place we didn't change, so you can compare the difference. Okay? So to help you understand this Java generics better. Other than that, very easy to understand. Other than these places, a few places, then it will be easier to understand. All right, so I just stop here, the 3 parts. But I will post my example tutorial and also, my PowerPoint explanation slides there, so you can, study. When you watch the video, you can also study, notes and those files. All right, so we finish part E and module 4. And module 5, we move to EL topic.